Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. And this was Ultima Lucha Dos Part 2. And I gotta say, while I personally think that Part 1 edged this one out only slightly, this was still a really fun show nonetheless. We only got 2 matches tonight. They both got a considerable amount of time. Gift of the Gods and Muertes versus Cuerno in the death match. And cinematics that I'm actually amazed I've been able to keep it together this long, because I have just been laughing and smiling from ear to ear like an idiot for I think the past half hour to an hour. But partner, what did you think of this?
Oh yeah, this was a really solid episode. There were a couple of things on this show that disappointed me, but I mean, there's seriously no like heat of the night or even nitpick worthy bad things. This is just, there were just a couple decisions on this show that I disagreed with, but again, I don't know everything. I sure as hell don't know more than the writers of Lucha Underground, and I'm looking forward to see where they go with it.
And you know what, though, Ashton? Because I think you and I, maybe not exactly, but I know for a fact you and I share the same, not necessarily contentions, but disappointments, I'll say.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a worthy avenue to explore for discussion, so I'm still excited about it because of the discussions they'll prompt in just a few moments. So with that said, let us get right into our Lucha Underground review, and we open up with a recap as we do, kind of setting the stage for tonight. We go to the band, but then we start with the in-ring action. Gift of the Gods. Ashton, what do you think of this match, brother?
Oh, the match itself was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the match. I thought that specifically, I think Nightclaw, just on his debut, had a great showing.
Yeah, absolutely. Consider me a fan of Nightclaw now. That was an effective debut for sure. I thought everybody really looked great in this match, in my opinion. And really the standouts to me, which is funny because neither of them won, but we'll get to that in a second, definitely the Moth siblings. I love their work in this match, particularly Marty, of course. Everybody knows what a huge fan I am of Marty the Moth. I loved his character work even before the bell rang, just playing with Killshot's dog tags. And yeah, I think everybody really shined in this match, dude. Did you have any standout players or standout moments that you wanted to remark on?
Well, I mean, like I said, Nightclaw, I thought was the standout player. I think that his standing Spanish fly and his 2 Phoenix splash attempts, even though he only connected with 1, were both outstanding. Plus, he did that crazy moonsault from the top of Cueto's office. He was definitely the standout in this match. I think that if we kind of exclude all of the stuff that he did, I think that the biggest standout moment for me was the butterfly effect that Mariposa delivered on Killshot.
I would have to agree with you there. Killshot, he did fine in this match. He actually eliminated Nightclaw. I know we said on TWitWoW that the Moth siblings did, but it was actually Killshot that eliminated Nightclaw. And, I thought that was impressive. I was really hoping Killshot, he did make it to the Final Four, so I guess that is going to distance, especially when you're staring down the barrel of 2 Rudo/Ruda in the Moth siblings. Killshot did well. I agree with you about those spots, especially from Nightclaw. That Phoenix splash he did was sick on Daga. That was great.
Yeah.
Man. I really loved everything. But, dude, let's talk about it. The finish. Sexy Star staring down the barrel of the Moth siblings, Marty and Mariposa. Marty actually aids in eliminating Mariposa, of course, inadvertently. He winds up like this punch. Knocks Mariposa out, Sexy Star picking up the scraps, which, hey, that's routine for the Sexy Star character. She'll find a way to win or make one. And then in the case of Marty, she made one. She got him in a cross-arm breaker, and he tapped out. Now, you guys know Mariposa was Ashton's subjective pick. Marty was mine, so you can imagine how I was feeling seeing him make it to the final 2. But the woman that we both objectively said would win, but we're kind of resigned to that fact, won. So let's talk about it. Ashton, I know how you're feeling about it, but I think how I'm going to phrase this question is this. How in your mind, and I know it's hard to get in Lucha Underground's mind, so let's just go how we would do it. Would you turn Sexy Star being Gift of the Gods champion into a positive? Making this work?
I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of people that really like that. There are a lot of people that are big fans and think that that's great. To me, I think that the biggest thing that they could have done that they didn't do to make this more impactful was just to save No Mas for later on in the season. That felt like so long ago.
Yeah, that's a great point, dude.
I think if No Mas would have happened like 3 weeks ago and we were fresh off of that match, this would have had so much more impact than it did.
Yeah, I have to say, I think I agree with you, because I will say, being totally fair, I do feel like No Mas was emotionally resonant, the finish and everything, and just seeing her all bloodied and exorcising those demons.
And in that moment, I think she looked like a complete badass.
Definitely. Here, after that victory's aged considerably, in wrestling time, I definitely think we go back to, well, Sexy's good. I mean, hell, I'm even a supporter of hers. I've been probably her biggest advocate on here. But, like, I definitely had a preference for Marty and, even Killshot. And Mariposa, too. I think they were, like, my top 3 for subjective. And, yeah, Sexy Star getting it. There's definitely possibility there. And the beautiful thing with Lucha Underground is, if you don't necessarily like the end game of one set of maneuvers, maybe you'll like what they do later on, because now it's a whole new journey for Sexy Star being the Gift of the Gods champion. Is she going to hold on to that belt? If she cashes in, will she be successful? If she cashes in also, what's she going to be staring down? Pentagon, who she knows intimately, or Matanza, which is completely foreign to her, though I'm sure she's seen the dominance for herself. So a lot of questions to be tackled here in the wake of this result.
Do you know what I think I would have done differently?
What's that, bro?
I think I would have switched the builds to the 2 Gift of the Gods matches that we had this season. The one that we had just most recently where all 7 medallions got handed out in one night, I would have done that for the mid-season Gift of the Gods match.
Right, okay.
And then for this one, I would have done a little bit more taking my time. I would have used episodes like 21 through 24, including last week's episode of Ultima Lucha, although I guess they wanted to have the whole tournament then on that show. But I would have used the last few episodes of the season to hand out the medallions, and I would have had Sexy Star versus Mariposa in the No Mas match be one of those like marathon, one show, one match kind of matches.
You know what? I think I'm picking up everything you're laying down, and here's why. Because had they done the switch up that you're suggesting, again, like I said earlier, and I don't think you would contend this, I think No Mas was probably the most emotionally charged medallion matchup they did that batch of medallions.
Yeah.
So you do the most emotionally charged match, and then the
winner Sexy
of that,
Star didn't even win that Gift of the Gods match.
Exactly, Cage did.
Right.
And so, like, because
Chavo did.
Oh, Chavo did. Yeah, you know why I said Cage, because of what happened later. But you're right, Chavo did. But why I say all that? Here's the thing about a match like this. I'm gonna put it this way, and then I'm gonna field it back to Ashton for any other remarks he has. This match shows that predictability isn't a bad thing. Like, we really thought Sexy was going to win. That's not the problem. I think it's really how you handle it, and they still have a way to handle it, in the aftermath, because they did the build-up. Now's the aftermath. Build-up wasn't the greatest, I'm not going to lie, but they have a really, a great chance to do something special in the aftermath, because Sexy Star is on top of the world. But this is a character, well, I guess you could say that about all babyfaces, but her specifically with her origin story is even more so predicated on struggle. So her holding that championship is not going to be a breeze, and I just wonder how they're just really going to paint that for her. So
yeah, and then, I mean, like you said, her whole character is about struggle, but it really kind of feels like this wasn't really much of a struggle at all as far as just her winning this match goes, because, I mean, Marty did all the work for her to beat Mariposa, and then, the submission, and I think that the submission was kind of awkward too, because Marty was right there at the ropes.
Yeah, and he just had to reach a little bit more. I'll tell you
what. I feel like we complained a few years ago about Triple H, where he was really close to the ropes and he still tapped out, and now... Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, maybe me complaining about that specific part is just me kind of being salty that Marty didn't win.
Right. And hey, me too. And I'll be honest too, being totally objective. While I was rooting for Marty, like, if you were really going to commit to Sexy winning this thing, I really do think it should have come down to her and Mariposa, and have Mariposa just really torture her. Just really take it to her. Like, I agree with you. It almost seemed a little too easy for Sexy Star. Like, No Mas, it was a struggle. It was like Sexy Star was going through the circles of hell, and then, when Mariposa says no mas, it's like, oh, thank God, it's over. I could put it behind me. This, I'm not saying it was a gimme, because you had 7 really competent, very, qualified athletes in there, but towards the end, again, Marty set up the table for Mariposa to be pinned, to your point, and then really Marty again, because he was so lax and everything, which I get as part of the character because he's perverse and he takes pleasure in dragging things out, but that cost him too. So again, now I'm just kind of putting that behind me. It wasn't the greatest. This is kind of like the Blue Demon Jr. Tejano moment for Ultima Lucha. I don't know if that's an obligatory part of the show. I would like to think not. But yeah, this is probably the weak point of the show for me personally.
I do, not just for you, for both of us.
Well, I'm glad that I'm not alone because, that was our weak point, I think, for Ultima Lucha last year was that match. And this year, it may just be this match. And I know the finale still has to air next week, so I may have to reassess.
And the match itself, I thought, was great. Another thing that I'm disappointed by is the lack of progression in the Cobra Moon Daga thing.
Yeah, like, she was watching, and then she seemed, like, distraught that he lost, but, like, she didn't come down to try and carry him away. There was no interaction.
Again, though, like, she's been watching him for months now. She just kind of stands there and watches, and that's been going on for a while, but nothing new happened tonight.
Exactly. And I don't know. Lucha Underground, you know how they like to do the slow burn with a lot of stuff, and I'm definitely a fan of that style. And more often than not, I do think their payoffs make you say, okay, that was worth waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just hoping with these 2 stories, we can say the same. And I'm confident we will, for the record. This isn't me being wary about that. It's just a matter of, I don't know, because I feel like, much like Son of Havoc, and they're probably going to do something huge with him the 3rd season.
That's exciting, yeah.
That is. That is so exciting. You're right. And I hope that the likes of Mariposa and Marty get their shot. And, Killshot as well. And Nightclaw. I mean, my God, what a debut. But, yeah.
Oh, man. I think the reason I'm feeling so salty tonight is because I watched Impact last night. And that was a massive mistake. And I was hoping that Lucha Underground would be super exceptional tonight and kind of break me out of my funk. And then it ended up being a show that I thought had some flaws to it. It's like, damn, like, the one show that actually has the potential to be flawless, and they didn't, they weren't completely on point tonight like they always are.
I'm telling you, man, Impact's carcinogenic. I stay away from that shit like the plague, man.
I'm done with it. I watched it. Well, I didn't even really watch the whole final deletion. I watched people reacting to the final deletion last week, and now this week I decided to tune in just so that when someone says, oh yeah, TNA's getting so much better, I can confidently say, I just watched an episode and no, it's not. Screw off.
Now, just a quick question. You watched the whole show, right? When you watched Impact?
The whole show.
So you're like that kid that gets caught smoking and they're forced to smoke a whole carton of cigarettes. Like, yeah, that's horrible, dude. I'm so sorry you endured that.
And now Sexy Star's Gift of the Gods champion.
Which, again, like, how are they going to handle that? Because I'm telling you, dude, and we said it, the WWE equivalent, like, Bryan, Brock Lesnar, if they are going to do Sexy Star and Matanza, you better do some otherworldly shit to make that believable to me. Because...
And even if they do Sexy Star versus Pentagon, how does Pentagon get the title off of Matanza? Because if he has power equivalent to Matanza, then that makes Sexy Star versus him even less believable.
Dude... I'm telling you, man, like a lot of questions, and it's a risk, I think. They're walking that tightrope, I think, just a little bit.
I think that what I really just want to kind of put out there is I really, like, I genuinely hope that they didn't just do this for the bragging rights, to be able to say, we had a women's singles champion. Like,
right.
I feel like that shouldn't just be something you hand out for the sake of, being able to put it on a banner somewhere. Like, I feel like it needs to be earned. And I feel like in this match specifically, I don't know. I didn't really feel... if anyone, I feel like I even said Mariposa, I feel like would have been the better option. Because if anyone's going to stand a chance against Matanza or Pentagon, she's a hell of a lot more likely than Sexy Star.
And I would agree with you, right? It's... Even in a universe like Lucha Underground, which is so surreal in its implications and its machinations... you really can buy into anything. I still think there is that sense of grounding for believability in certain places. And when you're talking about world title matches, the actual in-ring part of your product, that's where I think the believability is like most evident, because I'm sorry, I'm not going to believe, for as tenacious as Sexy Star is, and again, I'm a fan. This is all coming from a fan, people. I don't dislike her by any means. I think, Ashton, even like you're a fan to a degree. I know you're not like a super fan, but
when it comes to Sexy Star, I'm fairly apathetic. Like, I don't like her. I don't really dislike her. I'm just kind of, whatever. I mean, and then it's not, again, I'm being as objective as I can, because, like, if you want to try and say, oh, you don't even like Sexy Star, well, she's part of my current match of the year, so how can you even say that?
Yeah, and that's true, because, No Mas currently is your match of the year, and I'm trying to be objective as well, dude, as somebody that's a fan of hers, and I can tell you, objectively, I can't look at her standing across from Matanza. And here's the thing, you and I, from the word go, have been big proponents of men fighting women. But here's the thing, if we're looking at this narratively, this isn't a woman fighting a man. This is a woman fighting a god. And if people
I mean, you don't even need to say woman. It's a person fighting a god.
It's a person fighting. It's the same way that, same reason why Cage and everybody else felt, because I've also
said...
Well,
I mean, at least with Cage, he had the gift of the gods that gives you the power of the gods,
Right.
And he gave Matanza the biggest run for his money, and that makes sense.
Yeah, and he did. And I will also say, because I feel
now,
like
again, though, now Sexy Star has gift of the gods, but, I mean, if Cage couldn't beat Matanza with the gift of the gods, how the hell is Sexy Star going to do it?
Which brings me to my central point, because I know for a fact I've said this too. I don't think anybody, any mortal, which encompasses men, women, everybody, is going to beat Matanza. The only thing that can beat a god is another god. I've said it before. I'm saying it again here. So unless Sexy Star has a segment where maybe she makes the Gift of the Gods Championship part of a ritual to get a god inside her or something, or to really up her power big time, I can't believe it. But here's the thing. I could trust Lucha Underground to have such a segment. So we got to leave it in their hands. But right now, there is a heavy amount of skepticism with this decision. Like, I support these guys till the day I die, no question. But, like, I have to question this. Yep. I don't know.
All right, well, that was the kind of the conversation that we were both kind of dreading having, but we got it done. Now let's move on, because up next was Officers Reyes and Meehan giving a pep talk to Mr. Cisco. John, you laughed already, so that's you volunteering to talk about this first.
That's fine. They're more or less trying to pump Cisco up to wear a wire and talk to Cueto to get the dirt on him.
Yep.
And then Cisco's just like, oh, but I don't want to do this. Like, this poor man who's lost any sense of autonomy. And then Officer Reyes is like, hey, man, remember, you do this, all charges are dropped and you're a free man. Remember that? You're going to do great. And just like comforting, like, attaboy, kind of pat on the back. Oh, my God. This was such a precursor for horrors to come.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I have to hold the laughter in, because I'm laughing now, but I'm talking the guttural. I have to hold it in just a little bit longer. So, anything you want to say about this?
No, man. I mean, this segment, it's in and of itself was, well, I almost just called it harmless, and clearly it wasn't, but you get the
idea. Nice terminology there, guy. Great. Oh, man. So, Muertes Cuerno happened after this, right?
It did. Well, actually, yeah, it did.
Okay. What'd you think of it?
I thought, I mean, given how we feel about the result of the Gift of the Gods match, I thought that this was the clear-cut match of the night.
Yeah.
And just the final minutes after, like this match it was like two matches in one. There was Cuerno making the biggest mistake of his life, and post Cuerno making the biggest mistake of his life.
I gotta ask you, because, like, I like the match, right? I'm not gonna take the piss out of the match. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. My question is more kind of taking a step back and looking at this match. It's merely a microcosm of what was an entire season for the King Cuerno character. Were you at all disappointed with his second season, or thought that he could have done more? Like, what do you think about King Cuerno's second season now that it's really done, or that we think it's done anyway?
I think that if you look at his second season as a whole, it was pretty good. I just think that the first half was awesome, and then the second half was kind of, a little bit of a letdown, but, it's really easy to be let down after you spend the first half of the season contending for the Gift of the Gods and trying to, go after the world title.
Right. I think I'd agree with that assessment. I think that assessment is even leveled, and it's fair. And I think I would sign on to that because I don't know, because I know you were originally like very big on King Cuerno, and then I got the bite too, and I'm like, oh man, this guy's just so good technically, and he commands the ring, and he gave a fine performance in this match too, for the record. Like that arrow from hell sending Mil Muertes into all those chairs, great. Him getting the lead, that slight lead back, dropping him like into the ladder, great. Don't know why he thought he could put his hands on Katrina. Probably because, to be fair, actually, to think about it, it does make narrative sense. Because remember, this was the same woman in Katrina who screwed King Cuerno out of the Gift of the Gods for the second Gift of the Gods when she hit him with the stone to give Siniestro the win. Yeah. So he's probably thinking, well, it's coming full circle now. Yeah. But problem is, you didn't fully incapacitate Mil Muertes, which... When did you ever fully incapacitate him in this match? It seemed like everything Cuerno did, Muertes either had an answer for or didn't even need an answer for because he shut that shit down immediately before it even got off the ground.
I mean, you say before it got off the ground, but Mil certainly wasn't afraid of getting off the ground. He ran up those steps and speared Cuerno through the air.
I know, right? And it's so... poetic in a way that Mil wins with the Tombstone Piledriver, and yes, you heard that right. We're still talking about Lucha Underground, not WWE, because much like The Undertaker, Mil, he's got his own little streak at Ultima Lucha. He's now 2-0 at the event, and he wins with a freaking Tombstone.
Yes. That's awesome, though. He needs to... Oh, God, are they going to do an Undertaker streak with Mil Muertes?
Maybe they will. I mean, dude, I've been kind of joking that Johnny Mundo is the new streak, and if he wins, he'd still be in contention because he's 1-0 right now at Ultima Lucha. But I think that's going to belong to Mil. It just seemed weird, right, that he wins with the Tombstone and he's 2-0 now. I mean, I know only 2 matches, but you watch. Maybe Mil will get his own little streak, and whoever beats him is like a big freaking deal. So
yeah. Oh, who's going to be the first person to beat Mil Muertes at Ultima Lucha?
See, I'll only feel ready to have that conversation with you if he wins 3 in a row. Because 2 in a row, yeah, that's impressive. If he can win 3, though, then I'm going to start putting more stock into, oh my God, are they really...
Hey, man, I mean, if a brand new promotion would start up and somebody won their first 2 matches and not anybody else won their first 2 matches, that would make it a big deal to beat him, even if it was the 3rd one.
That is true. That is true. So, yeah, I mean, the idea that they're putting this on... I mean, it makes sense. Given A, the Undertaker parallels, however faint, and 2, just even if you look at Mil as his own independent entity, he's so dominant. Just so dominant. Like, whoever slows him down, it's going to really be something. So, great match, though. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And by the way, because, I mean, talking about the spear through the table, and then the power bombs through the other tables, and then crowbar off the top rope to the back of the skull. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was brutal. I mean... Maybe not as brutal as power bombing him through a freaking building, but it was still pretty brutal.
Like, after that, I almost want to question, like, why even bring the stretcher out? Time of death, motherfucker. Like, goddamn.
Bring out the coroner.
Exactly. But, yeah, really fun match. You gotta wonder, like, where all this momentum for winners like Sexy Star, like Mil Muertes, you look at Night 1, Son of Havoc got screwed, like... All of this is going to lead into some great stories, I think, for the 3rd season. And even if not great, certainly intriguing, in regards to Sexy Star being Gift of the Gods champion. So I'm really intrigued, dude. Like, if anything, I just feel like Ultima Luchadors, if nothing else, has been a great advertisement for the 3rd season. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of what the first one functioned as, too. Like, put on amazing matches and get people hyped for the next season.
And those final 5 minutes, I see that's just going to really be the...
Dude, I know, next week. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. So anything else you want to say about this death match?
Yeah, that it was amazing and fun, and that anytime Mil Muertes gets the opportunity to have a match like this where he can kind of do anything he wants and go outside of the ring and have fun, it's amazing.
You know what, dude? How much do you want to bet, too, that people look... And I'm talking about the uninitiated, like people that may be watching Lucha Underground for the first time... And they may see a guy that looks like Mil Muertes, and they may think, oh, he probably does like a couple power clotheslines, or, your obligatory power moves when you look like that. But Mil's diversity, like the shit that he can do and the agility he has, he's so good, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I think another one of my favorite spots was, it was like a few minutes into the match, Cuerno threw a drop kick. And Mil, all it did to Mil was kind of send him backwards, but he maintained his momentum, bounced off the ropes, and then took Cuerno's head off with a lariat.
Yeah, that was sick, dude.
I loved that. Oh my God.
utter decapitation. Like that was a sick lariat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, Cuerno loses this match, kind of punctuates his second season with a loss. Mill wins 2-0, and again, just the tombstone. And now, just thinking about everything now, wow, that's pretty meta right there. So after that, we get a rundown for next week. Vampiro, you know, Matt Striker prompts him like, oh, you know, you revealed yourself last year as Pentagon Jr.'s mentor, his master. What are you thinking about this? You know, what are you going to do now? And he gets a little trash bin, dumps his pills in there. Crowd pops. Matt Striker's like, whoa, man, do you want to do that? Which I think he was really asking, whoa, do I want to sit next to this right now? And Vampiro's like, I got to go get my boy ready. You know, if I'm a teacher, that's what I got to do. Got to get my student ready. And he ups and he leaves. So how do you think he's going to get Pentagon ready, Ashton? Do you think we're going to have a cinematic of this? Are we finally going to get the multi-Pentagons? Finally? I want the validation, damn it.
Probably. I'm going to say that. Probably, yes.
I need this, because after KO for Money in the Bank 2016, Apollo Crews, I need this, okay? So I'm hoping they do it, so I can be like, it happened!
Just the fact that you're predicting it's going to happen kind of makes me think it won't.
Way to be a douche nozzle about it. No, I'm just kidding. You really have every right to. I'm sucking pretty hard right now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't exactly been on point.
Well, okay. Oh, damn. We'll see what happens.
It kind of seems like whatever you predict to happen, the exact opposite happens.
Do you just want to spend the rest of the show finding all the different variations that you can tell me that I suck, and I should just go in the corner and cry? Because we can do that.
I mean, if you're down for being roasted.
I just want you to get it all out of your system. So how much more do you got?
An infinite amount. We'd be here forever. Let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk about it then. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get a cinematic between these two. I think it would make sense. But I would see. My thing is, I would hope that they would do it early in the show to kind of build that hype.
I would open the show with it even.
I agree. I completely agree. Open it up. I mean, again, I certainly don't know more than the Lucha Underground writers, but I would love if they opened it up with almost like a Vampiro monologue, just kind of talking to Pentagon. Like, oh, you know, this is your time, this is your night, we got to get you ready, and then they do whatever, whether it's multi-Pentagon or whether they do sacrifice him and put a god inside him, which would be fucking awesome. And hell, I mean, not just for that one match, if you do something of that significance, that has narrative proportions that go far beyond that one match. We're talking about season 3, season 4, until, you know, there's a conclusion for that. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm really excited.
It's like Tyrone Biggums, but instead of crack, he just wants one of them gods up inside him.
Yeah.
Y'all got any of them gods left?
We'll see what they do, but yeah, Vampiro, I wouldn't count him out, man. I think he's got something up his sleeve, but you know who doesn't have anything up their sleeve?
Oh, God.
No, you know what? You go first. 'Cause I have to
no, we agreed that you would get the steering wheel on this segment, okay?
I feel like I'm drunk driving. I can't even. Okay. So Cisco goes in, sweating like a stuffed fucking pig, people.
Isn't that for bleeding?
Well, same difference in this case, because he did that later too, but we're jumping the gun a little. He takes a seat, and he's like, yo, Dario, what's up? Yo, what are you doing here? Nothing. I'm just checking in to see if you need anything from me. No, get out. No, man, look, we used to be tight. We used to be boys, you know what I'm saying? And I just... and the greatest line, well, second greatest, I just want you to know, man, whatever you got going on, I'm in. And he didn't say with that much enthusiasm, but he might as well for how he gave himself away. Because then Cueto scrutinizes his case, and he's like, what do you know? Nothing, man. I'm just saying that I'm here for you. Are you wearing a wire? What? No. Don't be ridiculous. Open up your shirt. Dario, please open your shirt. Do it. And he does. And they intercut between the office and the trunk. And Reyes and Meehan. Well, I can tell you, Reyes was probably thinking, oh shit. And Meehan was probably thinking, oh, thank God that's not me.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And then he shows the wire. And then Cueto's like, what do they know? And nothing. I was put up to it. They forced me. And then the creme de la creme, people. Cueto, with all the composure, entirely put together. Do they want me for murder? I don't know. Well, they will now. Takes the bull and just smashes it against Cisco's skull in what is easily not only the funniest scene of the season, but probably one of the most morbid times I've ever laughed at wrestling. I mean, between Kaz getting his leg shattered, Zach Gowen getting his leg shattered, and then pushed down a flight of stairs in a wheelchair, and then Bale's face getting eaten off in the same universe. Yeah, this was fucking hysterical. I must have laughed about this for a good hour. And then if you think to yourself, wow, John, you're a really terrible person. Yes, I am. So, partner, what did you think about all this?
I'm just sad that we're not going to get to see any babyface Mr. Cisco wrestling anymore.
Yeah, because his babyface got beat with a Red Bull.
Oh
Holy
God.
shit. Oh,
Need the energy drink?
He wishes.
Yeah, he really does.
But I gotta give points.
You know what they say, he messed with the bull, and he got the horns.
But guys, look, I'm just gonna be upfront.
Oh, now we're gonna be all faux serious about this.
No, I'm still laughing about it. Trust me. If you're expecting substantive analysis from me, you're probably SOL with the giggle fits I'm having. This guy, my cohort in commentary, is the real MVP because not only did he have a great, I wouldn't even call it a Twitter rant, but a great sequence of tweets that you should check out on his Twitter, which will be in our background, about how messed up this whole thing is when you really logically break it down. But he also made the amazing narrative connection that if you read the comics, you know that Red Bull is the same thing that killed Dario Cueto's mother. So it has a history of murder, people. And yeah, Ashton made that connection. So kudos to you for all the connections you made while I was laughing my ass off. But
I can't believe you passed up an opportunity for alliteration.
What alliteration was that?
The bull has a history of homicide.
Oh, clever girl. But yeah, crazy shit. And oh yeah, I forgot the most important part. See, I told you guys you wouldn't get anything substantive from me. After that murder, when Cueto probably is dealing with a boner because violence arouses him, he picks up the phone and whoever he's talking to, he says, "It's time." So, I don't know. Maybe Black Lotus was prepping for a match and Cueto's like, shit, time to execute whatever plan we talked about while on the road. Or maybe, it was somebody that's connected to the Lord, who that's still going to be a huge thing. I bet you so much is going to come from that next week. Holy shit.
Yeah, buddy.
Dude, this was amazing.
God. That, and like the fact that Cueto then was on the phone and he called, oh my God.
Dude, it's like...
It's time.
Here's the thing. Again, like me and Ashton both said at the top of the show, we enjoyed Ultima Lucha 2 Part 2, but what I find hilarious about this show, at least for us, and mainly for me, because I'm the one making the statement, it just seemed to get progressively better, because we had Give to the Gods, which was a great match-wise.
I was going to say, like the match itself I thought was really good, and I don't know, I felt like when it came down to the 2-on-1, Mariposa and Moth versus Sexy Star, that was when it kind of started to go downhill.
Exactly. Then we get to the death match, Cuerno and Muertes.
And it was solid, and the finish was amazing.
Exactly. And then we get this, which was absolutely amazing. I'm so glad Cisco's dead. This was just incredible. I'm gonna laugh about this for a week.
Oh, that's so messed up.
Do they want me for murder? They will now. Oh, Dario Cueto, you cinnamon bun, never change.
Well, and the crazy thing, too, is that I think Cueto disconnected the mic as soon as he found it. Like, as soon as he saw it and grabbed it from Cisco's collar, he yanked it. And, like, Cueto or Reyes and Meehan couldn't hear anything after that. So they didn't even hear him say that.
Yeah.
They're the only people in the world that didn't hear the best punchline of the century.
They were so deprived. I should have. I missed such a golden opportunity because my ass holiness, I really feel like wasn't fed enough in this segment because I was tweeting about how hilarious I thought it was. But I should have tweeted at Officer Reyes, well, that went well, and then just seen if he would have responded because, man.
Dude, he actually, I've been talking to, well, I haven't really been talking to you. I've sent out that long chain of tweets, and Chris Roach actually got back to me and said that Officer Reyes never meant to get Cisco killed. He was just following orders. And then Ricky Reyes on Twitter said, "I feel really terrible."
Well, that's the understatement of the fucking century. You really screwed the pooch on this one, Reyes.
I mean, it's like Roach said, though. He was just following orders. Like, well, I personally, I blame a combination of Meehan and Vasquez.
But see, though, like, I'm sorry, for as much as and it's going to be funny coming from me, right? Because I've been the one laughing my ass off that Cisco's still probably bleeding out as we speak.
Oh, my God.
Like, it's such bullshit, though, because when does personal autonomy come into play? It's like when we talk about war crimes. Oh, well, you know, I was just following orders. Like, you're telling me in those moments you lose all sense of personal autonomy? You're telling me you can't look at Cisco?
Okay, John, here's the thing. You have a job that requires you to go undercover. You go undercover, and you end up making friends with one of the people that you're undercover to investigate. And then the shit hits the fan, and you need to get that person to wear a wire and go do this thing where he might get killed. But if you don't get him to do it, you're not going to catch the perp that you're looking for, and you'll probably lose your job. So it's basically your well-being versus the potential death of a guy that you won't get charged for killing.
And I understand that. You know what I think this could have used? And I'm saying this seriously now. I got the laughs out. I would have liked if, even if it was unsuccessful, I'm not asking it to succeed because I know even Lucha Underground, you have to have some realistic limits. And what you just said, that's the realistic limit. But I would have liked to have seen even a segment between Reyes and Captain Vasquez. See, I remember Captain this time. And just having him protest, like, do we really have to do this? Like, I know he's a criminal, but this temple's really screwed up. I mean, and he would know that. He would know that because they assisted in killing.
You know what,
Dale.
though,
like,
dude? I think we need to also remember the time constraints because this was a shorter season.
That is true.
Because I agree with you that it would have been cool if, even if there was like a segment where, like, whether it was Vasquez or even one of the officers was like, you know, where they were in a room with Cisco and Cisco was like, what do I even say to him? And then we actually got like a little bit more so that he wouldn't go in there basically blind and just be like, well, whatever you're doing, I'm in.
And you know what? And again, I kind of do mean to be a dick. I can't lie about that. But it's just funny to me because it just packs no emotional resonance. Like, I like Ricky Reyes, you know, the performer. I love what he does. But for him to tweet out, I feel really bad. I guarantee you not as bad as Cisco right now. Like,
he said, and I quote, I really feel terrible.
Again, not as terrible as Cisco. You know, because
Cisco isn't going to tweet that. He's dead.
Truer words have never been spoken, my friend. He is dead. So yeah, I think you're right, though, because this just shows what time constraints will do about telling a story. Hell, maybe we could even allot that same kind of thing. Maybe whatever plan they had for Sexy Star, they wanted to do it this way. And now, because Season 3, I think, is going to be a longer season, a lot like the first one, they'll really have a lot of options to explore. So, I mean, yeah, it was great.
I think the one thing that we do know for sure about Season 3 is that there are 39 episodes.
And that's amazing. Like,
the speculation that we're hoping for is that there'll be 90-minute episodes and that it'll start airing this fall. But that's all speculation at this point. The confirmation, though, is 39-episode season, which is amazing.
Exactly. And imagine how much story you can tell with those parameters.
Yeah.
And that's what...
Well, I mean, look at Season 1 and then take away all of the character introductions they needed to do, and that's what we're looking at.
Exactly. And that's amazing. Because I will say, I think Season 2 has been strong, but I think the time constraints that you spoke of and the parameters that have kind of shrunk a little bit definitely show in parts.
Yeah.
And that's not meant to put them down because, hey, you know, everybody will face constraints like that at one point or another. But I think even with those constraints, Lucha Underground's handled it masterfully.
Definitely.
I mean, clearly I enjoyed this. Holy fuck. So I can't...
I love that, like, the one episode that there were moments that kind of depressed both of us. This is, like, the happiest you've ever been after a Lucha Underground episode.
I have such problems. You couldn't even begin.
He really, really does, guys.
Like,
really does.
You would look at me, and you would look at Vampiro, and you would stupidly think that I was the normal functioning member of society. So I think
Vampiro knows how to play it cool and act like he's normal.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm not
somebody gets murdered with a bull and you're just over here laughing like you just watched the Step Brothers.
I know. I mean, I couldn't even repress it to mere snickers. No, I let that shit out. Like, that was
I want to
so
go back and listen
gratifying.
to our live reaction now, because you really did kind of belt that out. But, like, I wasn't paying attention to you. I was too busy dealing with the emotional devastation of a guy that had just redeemed himself being killed.
Oh, the psychology of normies. I'll never understand it. You and your empathy. But
I know. It's a character flaw, I admit it.
with that said, though, is there anything else you want to say about this segment? Any potential plot points you want to discuss, or anything you want to put out on the table?
Plot points, John! No.
Okay.
The only plot point that's going on here is that Dario Cueto is just as much of a stone cold killer as we expected him to be.
And I love him for it.
The only thing about this segment that surprised me was that he didn't just feed him to Matanza instead of doing the job himself.
I was expecting that. I do agree. And I think another thing that surprised me personally, because I know that Cueto was very calm and cool about it, so maybe it shouldn't surprise me too much, but I am surprised that immediately after, his first thought was, I gotta make a phone call. Because I didn't know, like, if he would just want to keep this shit to himself,
dude,
or what.
I think that the language in this segment was more meticulously chosen than we might realize.
Right.
Because Cisco said that he was a good little soldier, and immediately Cueto snaps back with, what would I need a soldier for?
Ah, that's true. Wow.
So, and last season, Ultima Lucha Part 2, he said to Black Lotus, do you realize what you've done? You just started a war.
Oh my god, that connection. Yeah, I'm glad I prodded if you had anything else to say, because, yeah, that's mind-blowing. Holy shit.
So, there's going to be a war in the temple. Frankly, I'm surprised that they didn't do anything with that really this season.
Yeah, I mean, again, though, the final 5 minutes of Ultima Lucha 2 Part 2, because if they did a slow burn for Matanza, if we're talking about something on such a grand scale as full-blown warfare,
yeah,
I think they're going to want to really set the stage.
I thought that this would be like, I thought this season would be like the season of war, because I thought that we were going to have like the faction of death with Katrina and her cronies taking on the faction of El Jefe with Cueto and Matanza and everyone that he decides to pay. That's kind of what I thought would happen this season, because if you remember, like, I even thought that like Cueto would pay Killshot and stuff like that would happen.
Right. And I think you and I both were really talking about, factional warfare and this and that in our Lucha rewatch series and things like that, and our Luchador spotlights for certain characters.
It was mostly in our Luchador spotlights that we were talking about that.
I mean, really, if I could make, I'm not saying this is an exact parallel, everybody, but if I could make the best parallel that comes to my mind, I feel like how Lucha Underground is going to handle that is the same way, or at least very similarly to how Game of Thrones has been handling its own shit. Like, yeah, batshit crazy stuff has happened throughout all these seasons, but for those of you that watch,
overlying sense of dread because a war is happening and coming.
Exactly, and especially if you look at the finale of this latest season, like, now, oh shit, things are really going into motion now.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get a season like that, maybe not season 3, maybe season 4 or 5, if, hopefully we get there. That's going to be the time where, okay, let's do this. And I think, honestly, maybe season 3, because if you do get, your 39 episodes, especially at 90 minutes each, which, again, that is just pure conjecture, you're going to be able to tell a lot of story. And I think you could really move that along a lot quicker while not really losing anything. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm telling you, that's the language there was, they didn't just throw the term soldier out there as like a throwaway, like, yeah, let's just use this for whatever reason. They meant that word specifically.
No, you framing that as you did, I completely agree with you.
And then Cueto picks up the phone and makes a call, and what he says, it's time. Like, it's shit's hitting the fan right now.
Yeah. And what have you and
I wonder, I really think we're going to see Delgado's Lord next week.
I hope so. And dude, what have you and I both been saying? Next week, I think is going to pack the biggest narrative punch because this is the crescendo of the season.
Yep.
You know, so I think everything is happening next week, and they've got 2 hours to do it. And again, folks, and I bet you Roach and DeJoseph know it, and all the other writers and stuff. You know, those final 5 minutes, they know how much we lapped it up like a cat to milk last season. Whatever they've got planned in the final moments of this season, keep an eye out. I think, yeah.
I mean, you've got 5 matches. If each of them average 15 minutes each, that's only 75 minutes out of a show that would end up taking commercials away being 90 minutes. So that gives you another 15 to play with as far as cinematics and vignettes and stuff and backstage stuff. And, take another 5 away because of the final 5 minutes, hopefully. And then you've got 10 left to really tell a story and get us even more hyped up for season 3, which I really like. I've been hearing amazing things about season 3.
You and me both. Like the tweets that thankfully have been non-spoiler, so thank you.
And especially too, like if it's starting in like 2 or 3 months and we don't have to wait 6 months to see it, that's just all the more reason to be insanely excited for this.
Oh, certainly, dude. Abso-freaking-lutely. Because I, like you, I've heard ridiculous stuff about it. My curiosity is beyond peaked.
Yeah.
And shit's going down next week, guys.
I mean,
I'm telling you.
even, just to kind of get this plug in, I sent a message to J-Man, who was at the Ultima Lucha 2 and Tres tapings, to ask him which Ultima Lucha he thought was best. And he said Tres was the best so far.
Oh, wow.
He said Tres, then Dos, then Uno. And, that gets me even more excited for next week, too, because so far, if we're just comparing the first night of Ultima Lucha to the first 2 nights of Ultima Lucha 2, I think it's really close, and I think that the first Ultima Lucha might even be coming out a little bit ahead.
Right, and I would agree with you personally. It all comes down, I think, to this final week, and I'm not just talking match quality, but narratively, because that's the thing, too.
And, that's why I was bringing up the plug, because I said, J-Man, next week, on Wednesday, after Ultima Lucha 2 is done on the air, we're doing a Lucha Roundtable. It's going to be the 2 of us, the last real heels, J-Man and Urban, and the Lady J Says from Facelock Feministas. And it's going to be the 5 of us just shooting the shit about the final episode of the season about Ultima Lucha.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be amazing, guys.
It's going to be so good. I can't wait for that.
Yep.
And yeah, I think
we're still going to do live reactions, but that's going to take the place of TWitWoW then.
Yeah, definitely. So with that said, do you want to get to our next segment?
Yeah.
All right, high spots and low shots. Oh, my God. Is there any other low shot than Mr. Cisco?
Oh.
I mean, my personal high spot for life, because, I mean, the greatest thing you left this earth with is my barrel of laughs, so I appreciate you for it, Cisco, but, man, what a shitty night. A barrel of laughs, because I just haven't stopped laughing at his demise. It's just been fucking hilarious. Oh, my God.
Well, that's definitely the most valid low shot, I think. But I still have, a haymaker left.
Okay.
And my low shot's King Cuerno.
Ooh, all right.
He thought he was going to get his shit in. He thought he was going to do something to Katrina, but he learned the biggest lesson of his freaking life. And he got, taken out on a stretcher. And the only thing that really prevents him from being an even more valid low shot than Cisco is the fact that Mill actually let the EMTs put him on the stretcher and take him out.
Exactly. Man, don't you just love a show where qualifiers can be, oh, you died and oh, you got to live? Like stakes like that.
Like, oh, you died and oh, you got crippled.
Exactly. Oh, man. Well, adhering to my own logic, because if I'm going by who had the biggest losses, I should also say who got the biggest spoils for my high spot, and that would definitely be Sexy Star.
Yeah.
Gift of the Gods champion. I mean, not more you can say than that, given the history of the belt. If she can make it work in her favor is yet to be seen, but for right now, she holds it and master of her own destiny right now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. This is a little bit on the obscure side, I guess, a little out of left field, but my high spot wasn't even on this show tonight.
Oh.
Matanza.
Okay.
For 2 big reasons. First of all, your potential opponent, the Gift of the Gods, could have been somebody as physically imposing as you. It could have been Marty. It could have been Nightclaw. It could have been Mariposa. But it ended up being somebody who we've already seen on Lucha Underground television can be powered down for a 3 count very easily by Big Rick.
Yeah.
So if you're Matanza, you're sitting easy.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree.
On top of that, we also now know that Matanza is going to be fed for at least the next week.
Cisco Chow. It's delicious.
Mr. Cisco.
Yes.
Kibbles and Ciscos.
People, please. And especially, I'm sure Paul William Gregory has something hilarious to say about it, because he has some amazing
Ciscos
clips.
and bits.
People, keep sending in your jokes about Cisco's death, because Johnny Scumbag also needs to be fed. And oh my God, I'm just smiling from ear to ear right now. So with that said,
begging Ciscos.
Any others you want to get off your chest, or any other remarks about Ultimate Luchados Part 2?
Cisco strips.
We good?
Cisco kebab.
All right, we're good. All right. This has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Ashton, what question do you have for our subscribers this week?
Oh, don't make that. No, next week's going to be too good for me to try and ask anything basic right now.
Okay, then I'll reiterate my request. Keep sending in your jokes if you had any about Cisco's death, or if you want to eulogize him and pay respects and all that crap. I guess you could do that too in the comments. So
mostly just make food puns about his name.
Well, food or really anything else you guys want.
No, it needs to be food puns because Matanza's getting fed well.
Well, I don't want to restrict Paul William Gregory, though, because I guarantee you he probably has something hilarious to say about Cisco's death, and I need to see it. So, no pressure, though, man. I know you're hearing this. No pressure.
That if it is a food-related pun, that I'm going to enjoy it probably a lot more than John.
That's certainly true. Although, I mean, just the idea that
just puns in general, and in this case, food fits because he's being fed to Matanza.
Yeah, Alex Foster, you better watch yourself. I mean, Ashton likes puns. Becky Lynch likes puns. You can see what I'm getting at. But
wait, what's the connection between Alex Foster and Becky Lynch?
Well, he thinks that they're dating. So, I'm just saying, like, you would muscle in and be clearly a better choice for Becky because pun love. Pun love is real love. So there you go. Yeah. But, guys, whether it's food puns or whatever.
I've got choices, though. I've got choices. Becky's one, but then also Bliss and Kathy Kelly.
That is true. But guys,
a nice amount of punsters in the WWE right now.
Yes, there are. But guys, look, don't sweat it. I'm so giddy about the fact that Cisco's dead. I'll probably laugh at anything. So just give it your best shot down in the comments. You guys already know everything else you got to check out. So we will see you again for NXT TWitWoW, where it's finally happening. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Finn Balor.
It's about freaking time.
Yeah, really. But until then, tune in and peace out.